Hello everyone and welcome to Twitch Tales episode 69. Where did we leave off in episode 68? Well, in a very interesting place, didn't we? Apis had just decided that the troubles to the north in the Great Expanse with the demons and the necromancy, it was too much to handle on their own. They needed some help. They also acknowledged that a certain jolly fellow, a certain merry gentleman, had been wanting them to come and visit for a while to the Feywild. So they said, it's about time, let's go get some help in learning how to shut portals, learning how to deal with things of this magnitude. Apis had found their way to a Feywild portal, prepared themselves for the journey, and then stepped through the portal. Apis then immediately stepped back out of the portal on what seemed to be the material plane. Apis was holding a letter in their hand, and wearing some sort of living plant material suit. It doesn't seem to be the right time of year. And slowly but surely, Apis discovered that, oh dear, that memory issue that we've read about or heard about with the Feywild has happened to me. I've spent some amount of time in the Feywild and returned to the material plane and forgotten all of it. Apis has found themselves in a different part of the world somewhere, maybe the same country, maybe just a few miles down the road, but maybe hundreds of miles away. They looked around and found that the plants and the flora and fauna seemed to be relative to the country they left, the place that they left. But the weather and season was definitely different. It is late autumn, early winter, instead of being late spring, early summer, which is what Apis had left. They found a note in their hand. The note read, Apis hive of Shafgushal on the Peoran continent of Rin. Given the blood of this plane doesn't run in your veins, you may find your time here a little foggy at best. In case of that event, I hope this letter helps to alleviate some confusion. You came to me here in my home, and we spoke of your natural talents as a plane stepper, or horizon walker. With your abilities, you are in a unique position to help the people of Rin with a problem regarding the portals between planes. In the East Drenlach there is a village. There you will find a friend. He can tell you more. The sentinels must be fixed. It is vital to keep the balance. May Gladlix Philander look down on you favourably, as many others seem to have. The note made little sense to Apis, except for Gladlix Philander being the god of luck, so it's a way of the merry gentleman seems to have been signing off with, if indeed this is the merry gentleman's hand, he seems to have been signing off with good luck. You have been left somewhere you do not know, trying to find the East Drenlach and trying to find the village in the East Drenlach. You're trying to find a friend in the East Drenlach, and so you had a look at your belongings. It seems like everything you had on you when you left was still on you when you came back, to a certain extent. There was a slight change in the number of arrows and money that you had, and minor things like that. The rations that you had were different, the number of torches perhaps. Then you got out your bone dice. The little carved wooden box that keeps bone dice in it that can answer a question. And you found that written on the bone dice was the name Apis now, not the name Bobby. These bone dice are now officially belonging to you, it seems, or have been embossed to show that they officially belong to you. You set off, walking in any direction, trying to find water, because water as a survivalist, is an important way to find your direction to wherever you are and where you're going, and to survive. So you set off trying to find water. On the way, you found a creepy-looking hill surrounded by a large iron fence. The large iron fence had a large iron gate, and you pushed it open with a stick, and you contemplated going inside, and then you decided, nope, that looks scary and I don't understand what it is, I'm going to go around. So you went around the giant hill and continued on deeper into this decrepit and dying wood. This wood that seems to have had some sort of negative or evil influence to it, perhaps. Trees gnarled and dead in random spotted pattern. You kind of noped out of there and said, no thank you, we don't understand this, we don't know where we are, maybe once we've got a better idea of what we're doing and what we're dealing with, we can deal with that. You eventually found a river and continued on down the river, and as you set off on your journey to try and find the East Renlac village, that is where we left off. So you continue. You are continuing downstream, looking for any sign of whatever it is that you can do with your friend, apparently. You do have one friend with you, thankfully. Your giant bee companion Mel is with you and buzzing along behind you. You also, in your time in the Feywild, apparently got commissioned the thing you've been thinking about for a while, a little perch attached to the back of your backpack so that Mel can land on it and you can undergo stealth missions a little bit easier, because a giant buzzing bee is not very stealthy. So whenever you need to be stealthy, she can land, and you now have a perch for her to do so. Can we keep Mel up high for a lookout? Absolutely can, yeah. You can communicate with Mel, yes. So Apis speaks a language down in the languages section of your character sheet over that side. You can see languages, Common, Dwarvish, and Sylvan. Sylvan is a language that the fairy creatures speak, and it is also a language that some animals can understand. Mel, being that she's a giant bee and somewhat magical, she actually does speak Sylvan, so you can speak to her in that language. Mechanically speaking, is it half movement speed while she's perched on us? I wouldn't go as far as half, but maybe I'd penalise you by a couple of feet of movement. She's not super heavy, otherwise she wouldn't be able to fly. No roads or paths or trails. You're just walking through wild forest and following a river. The more you walk, the more you confirm for yourself that it is indeed late autumn. So send Mel up for a scout. So as you walk, Mel is sort of coming and going, just buzzing up and down and sort of relaying to you what she's seeing, and then buzzing back up again and coming back down again. As you're, we obviously need to take time to skim some stones. Yeah, it's an important part of it. It's an important thing to do. Apis is waiting for Mel to come back down and show them what they're seeing. So Apis takes a second to skim some stones, and they do an 8. They do an 8 worth of skimming stones. It's not the greatest skimming of stones, but it's not the worst either. You get like 3 or 4 plip, plip, plip before the plop. Plip, 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 plop. That's the official terminology in the stone skimming community. You get 3 plips before the plop. What hour is it? It is probably at this stage, I would say, afternoon at some point. It is at some point, because you came back through in the morning, it seems. You spent quite a bit of time looking through all of your stuff, and then some time walking eastwards through the forest till you found a river, and then you started heading with the river. So probably sometime in the mid-afternoon. Find any river fish? There are a couple of fish. Yeah, there are a couple of river fish you could try and catch if you wanted fish. But you also have rations in your pouch in your person. You find any good flowers, Mel?
I wasn't looking for flowers, but I can look for flowers if you want me to.
I mean, just if you're looking for everything else, just keep your eye out for interesting flowers, I suppose.
Okay.
Keep looking for signs of civilization, even subtle ones such as elven tracking markers and signs. It's a good question, a good point there, Milzy. Then let's roll you an investigation. Let's see, perception, investigation. I feel like you're specifically looking out for individual signs of civilization, so this is going to be survival or investigation. I feel like more of an investigation check, which is good because you've got a +3 in intelligence. It's forest based, so I'll give you a forest bonus from your ranger abilities, which allows you to add your proficiency bonus to this. You're a level 7 now, so your proficiency bonus is a 3, so you've got a 6. 6 to this roll. Alright, here we go. Dice cam on, investigation +6. That's a 9. 9 plus 6 is 15, not too bad. You're looking out for civilization. I will let you know if you come across anything that a 15 is enough to see. We're distracted by the fact that we've lost 4 months and are in an unfamiliar area with an unfamiliar reason. An 8 to skim stones is rather good, I'd say. Yeah, probably. Trying to piece together your life and what's happened to you and what will have happened to all the friends that you've left behind, and what was happening with the demons, and is Shadridge in trouble, and there's a lot on your mind at the moment. So you're skimming stones as a way to try and like occupy your hands with something, I guess. If there are fish there, it might be signs of fishing. You have looked along the river and not seen signs of fishing. There's not like anything that has been set out as a fishing spot, but there are a couple of river fish, so it would be a place that somebody might want to fish. The Pencampur and Amgleshed's map is a bunch of carvings on trees. Keep an eye out for those too. Yeah, you are keeping an eye out for those. You are not a druid, so you don't speak druidic, which is a lot of those symbols on trees and things. But if you see them, at least you'll be able to see that there is some there. Can we reference landmarks on our map with what we see around us? Yes, very good, Kelso. You have a map on the inside of your cloak. So for those who don't know, Apis is wearing a Displacer Beast cloak, which allows your form to be constantly like shimmering, making it harder for attackers to pinpoint where you are. But then you also have another cloak in your possession called the Cloak of Many Fashions, and at will you can place it on and think about what you want the cloak to look like, and it will reform itself to look like that thing. It doesn't take on any other magical qualities, even if you make it look like a magical cloak, but you can make it look like whatever you want. And Apis has ingeniously used this to keep a track of a map. Apis had a map of a particular forest location before heading into the Feywild, and then since investigating the cloak when they returned, they learned that the cloak had a different map on the inside of it. You take that off and continue to sort of judge from your area around you and the landmarks you're seeing and what Mel is describing to you, whereabouts on this map you might be, and you've got a pretty good idea that you are sort of to the northern edge of this map, and you are getting towards a large river that is running in that direction, one that is running kind of in the direction of the green dot that you've seen on the map. We might learn on which hemisphere we are at night by looking at the night sky. I'll ask it later. Very good, Puckfin. Very good thought. You might be able to learn at the very least which hemisphere of the planet you're on. Can the bee wear the map cloak? She could like sleep under it, but it's much too big for her to be able to wear, and she definitely wouldn't be able to fly if she was wearing it. All right, so you cross-reference, having walked for a while now. It required no. You're a ranger, you're an outlander, and you're proficient in survival with a forest bonus. So I'm not going to make you roll for it. You after sufficient time in your favoured terrain, the forest, you're able to work out the general gist of your location. It seems that you are on this map, and you are towards the north of this map. And the green dot is not moving with you. The green dot was a special, a stationary mark on the map. After a little while, your 15 investigation does come in handy. You see a couple of markings on trees. You start to see signs that civilization has at one point been in this forest. You don't catch a lot of things, and as you catch a few different clues, they are subtle enough that you realise you've probably missed quite a few, because the ones that you catch are old. They are like the druidic Pencampur and Amgleshed guild. They are symbols scratched into trees and marked on rocks. There are rock cairns and things set about. but they have been abandoned long ago. They mostly have been grown over with mosses, or the bark has grown over the scratching in the tree, or the cairn has been tipped over, or things to that nature. It seems like once upon a time there were probably people living in this forest, and for whatever reason they have not kept up with it. I should make clear as well that the decrepit sort of dying part of the forest was around that creepy hill that you found way back, and after you left that and found the river, it seemed to have returned to a relatively normal forest. I'll have you make a... I'm going to give you advantage on this because you're a Horizon Walker. I'm going to have you make a wisdom-based Arcana check. Wisdom-based because it's more to do with your feeling and senses than to do with your book smarts and brain, but Arcana because it relates to magic. So I'm going to take all the dice out of the dice tray here and give you a dice roll. There we are. So that is what's number is that? That's a 17. 17 plus 2 from your wisdom is 19, plus Arcana, which you're not proficient in, so just 19. With a 19, and I said I'd give you advantage because you're a Horizon Walker, which makes sense. So just in case it was higher, it's not. So 19 on your wisdom-based Arcana check is enough to know to feel. As you walk, you can feel that this forest you're in is magical. It's magical in the sense of, like, kind of feels like you imagine the Fey forests to feel. It's got like a static electricity of magic in the air. You have a few abilities as a Horizon Walker to use raw magic, to use what is known as force, the force magic, the building block magic that was used to create the universe in the first place by the gods. The stuff that is residual for things like magic missile and weapons that are created from raw magic. You can utilize that force with sort of feeling it as you're attacking with your planar warrior and firing arrows and things. You feel this crackling of static electricity down your body. You get the goosebumps. And as you're walking through this forest, you're kind of feeling that in a very sort of simmering state. You've still got the hob turned on, but it's like way down as low as it can be, and it's just this very low burning fire kind of feeling. There's definitely that in this forest. There's a raw sense of power, and it's getting more intense as you walk. You are, however, having a muddled time trying to work out where it is you're going, and a few times you forget what it is you're doing. And then when you remember where you are and the fact that it's winter, early winter perhaps, you wonder how you possibly forgot that. That was something that you couldn't have. Why would you have forgotten where you got? It's like it's the only thing that's happened today, and it's crazy. There's something going on that's like you've teleported to a different plane of existence in a different time zone. You don't know where you are. Why would you forget where you're going? That's an odd thing to do. And what were you thinking about? Where are you going anyway? Where did I get this plant suit from? There's something going on that's making things difficult. You continue along the water looking for whatever it was you were looking for. You just remember you were going in this direction. What was along this water? And you can hear a waterfall up ahead. You're still not in the river, obviously. You're at the side of the river, but you can hear a waterfall coming. Ask Mel if she's feeling well. Hey, Mel.
Yes.
Are you feeling all right?
What do you mean?
I don't feel like I've got all my mind. Like I'm not. Where do you remember where we were going?
I was just following you.
But where were we going?
I don't know.
Do you remember what we... Where are we?
I don't remember where we're in the forest.
Aye, we're in a forest, but is there a place that we're meant to be?
Was I looking for flowers?
I don't know what you were looking for. What am I wearing?
You're wearing it's some sort of plant, maybe. I don't remember.
You look down to see what you're wearing, and you see the Merry Gentleman's note in your hand. And you're surprised to see this note and what it is and what it means, and you look down and give it a read again. Friend in the East Drenlac, he'll be able to tell you more. I think we're looking for a friend somewhere. Do you know where the East Drenlac is?
No. What is that?
I think it's a place by the sounds of this, and I think maybe we've got... Do I know where we are in the forest, or what the forest is called? You do not. Do you hear regular forest sounds? Yes, you do. Yeah, there's regular sounds of the forest. You're standing by a river that is going over a waterfall up ahead. Not like a hugely powerful waterfall. It's a relatively small waterfall. A very rocky waterfall. But yeah, regular animal sounds, regular temperature and wind for this time of year, which seems to be sort of late autumn. Look for our own footprints. You check down for your own footprints, and you are leaving footprints in the dirt as you walk, like in a regular level. It doesn't seem to have rained relatively recently, so not exactly muddy, but soft dirt is depressing under your feet, and you are leaving footprints behind you. There doesn't seem to be footprints ahead of you. You're not like following your own footprints. Check for portals. Okay, shall we try and sense a portal? Can do if you want. Give me an idea in the chat. Once per short rest, as a Horizon Walker Ranger, you have an ability called Detect Portal. You can just attune yourself to that raw magic power of the universe around you, and detect whether there is a particular weakening or a weave between a break in the weave between this plane and another plane of existence. You can find a portal or a transition between here and another plane, and you can do that once between short rests. Is that something you would want to do or not? Hyphen says we should write down that our mind is affected. I don't believe you have a quill on you. You don't have a quill or ink. I like the idea of jotting down on the back of the note that we've forgotten it at least once. Yeah, good idea, but you don't have anything to write with, I don't believe. We can ask TomTom. All right, I'm going to roll you an intelligence check to see if you have a crow feather and lantern oil. You can improvise. Yeah, you do have a crow feather. You could write that. What are you going to write it in? You're going to write it in lantern oil. It's not the greatest implement for writing with. It's not exactly pigmented. You could write it in blood. You do have a vial of healing, or you have blood. Makeshift something. Yeah, we could try and makeshift something. Berry juice. Yeah, why not? All right, let's do that then. So, a bunch of people wanting to write something down. So you think I should write. Just come down here, Mel, just so we're safe. I don't feel like we should be separated here. I don't want to forget you. I'm just going to write something, and you sit down and get your pack out. You look through it for ink and things, not really fully remembering what you're doing. I'm just going to roll an intelligence check, intelligence saving throw real quick. 2. With a 2 + 3 intelligence saving throw, that's a 5. You sit down to try and write a note, and you forget. What was I doing, Mel? You get a book out. You're like, was I reading something? And Mel, I'm going to roll an intelligence saving throw for her. Also a 2. And she's got a negative intelligence, so she gets a 0. You completely forget why you sat down to get your stuff out, and you instead start to read one of the books. You start reading one of the books, and it's a book on potions. So maybe you were in the middle of making a potion, and for a while you just sit there reading because you're not sure what you were doing, and now you're reading, so you must have been meaning to read. And for like another hour or so, the forest passes by as it does normally, the wind through the trees and the animals and critters that seem to be moving around. And you're just reading, and Mel is buzzing around in the near vicinity, and you remember Mel. There's no moment that you forget who Mel is or what your relationship is with her, even when she wanders a little further from you. But you certainly forgot why you were here and what you were looking for. You also are remembering the things that you're reading in the book. Like, it's not like it's making you forget whatever's happening. It's not making you forget what you're reading. It's not a blanket memory loss situation. We've gotten onto the fact that our mind is being affected. Can we cast protection from good and evil on ourselves? Sure can. People want to do that. Spend a spell slot to cast protection from good and evil. It's a first level spell. We can cast it 6 more times total before we need more powdered metal. We have six uses of the powdered metal needed for the spell. Alright, yeses or nos. Do we want to cast protection from good and evil? It looks like a yes. Okay. It would regenerate on a long rest. The spell slot used to cast the spell would regenerate, but the powdered metal is a component that you need for the spell, so you'd have to just buy more of that when you get the chance, or make more of it if you've got the metal needed. You could obviously try and shave it down and make some powdered metal or whatever, but it's better to just buy it, I suppose. Alright, most people saying yes, so we're going to do that. So after you've read for a little while, you start to get hungry and you look through your bag for some rations, and then you kind of look. It's made you look up from your book for the first time in a while, and you look around and you think, "Where am I?" You try to remember how you got here. You don't remember how you got here. You don't remember which direction you came from. Were you going upstream or downstream? And you think, this is weird. And there's a moment of thinking, "Oh God, what if I think I'm being affected? I think there's something affecting my mind." You go to put your rations back in your bag, and you come across like your pouch of powdered metal, iron and silver and whatever else is in there. I think it's just iron and silver, and you are reminded of protection from good and evil. So you stand up and you begin to cast out the ritual components of the spell, the somatic and verbal components. You start to sprinkle the powdered silver and around the different sort of chakra points, as it were, of your body, the different sort of vital places of the body as you cast the spell. And it seems to go off without a hitch. One of the spell slots gone. Let me have a look at the spell protection from good and evil and see if it will help with anything. Could amnesia immediately make us fail the concentration on the spell? Nope, doesn't seem to have. It does not seem to have immediately dropped the concentration element of the spell. You are still able to concentrate on this spell. As I say, it's not a blanket amnesia. You're not immediately forgetting everything. You're just forgetting certain things, like how you got here and where you were going. Until the spell ends, one willing creature you touch is protected against certain types of creatures, aberrations, celestials, elementals, fey, fiends, and undead. The protection grants several benefits. Creatures of those types have disadvantage on attack rolls against you. The target also cannot be charmed, frightened, or possessed by any of those creatures. If the target is already charmed, frightened, or possessed by such a creature, the target has advantage on any new saving throws against the relevant effect. I will let you know if that happens. It lasts for up to 10 minutes, or at least until you can, for as long as you can concentrate, up to 10 minutes. You cast this spell on you, hoping that if you're being muddled by one of those creatures, it will be forcibly ejected from your person. You don't feel immediately any different. You look around and you still don't remember how you got here. Yeah, you don't remember how you got here. You do remember casting the spell moments before, and you do remember why you cast the spell, because you felt like your brain was a little muddled. But you don't remember why you are here. My mind's going to the Harry Potter books, Muggle repellent charms. It could be something like that. Kelso, Wraith says the area is protecting itself against danger. Potentially, it could be something like that. It sounds like we just can't recall why we're in the area and what we're doing, so this would be the time to write a note to ourselves that we need to keep moving. Yeah, you think, I don't know what I'm doing. I better write a note. I better write myself a note to see if I can... Do I have a quill? And you look down into your thing, you find a crow feather. Oh yeah, I've got a quill. You look for ink for a little while. You don't have ink. Why do I have a... Where did I get a crow feather from? I think there was a dragon in the area. Oh shit, there was a dragon in the area. And you start to feel sudden urgency about, oh shit, there's a dragon here. I'm going to roll you an intelligence saving throw. Ooh, 13 plus 3. That is enough to as you start to panic and think, oh shit, I was running from a dragon. You start to pack your things away quickly, and then you think, no, the dragon died. No, I killed the dragon, and you suddenly, okay, yeah, no, I killed the dragon. You've got the memory of that back. But there was something about whatever's happening to you, this enchantment, let's call it. It definitely seemed to affect your memory of that huge danger, and it seemed to give you, it seemed to almost want you to believe that there was like a present danger in this forest. It made it very difficult for you to remember that the dragon was not the threat here. I'm going to roll you another intelligence check to see that after that dragon fright, whether you still remember to write yourself a note. What is that? That is a 6. 6 plus 3, a 9. Yeah, I'm going to say that's enough to still... Oh, I was writing a note, wasn't I? I was writing a note. What am I writing in? I don't have ink. What's... And you look around. I'm going to make you a survival check, forest-based. You can do that easy enough because you've got high forest bonus. Yeah, 13. 13 plus your crazy survival in a forest is plenty enough to look for something. Ah, here we go, some berries. You get some berries and you smush them up, and Mela's saying, what are we eating? Is it time for food? And she buzzes down over to some flowers to grab some pollen, and you're like, no, this is not for food. You can eat if you want, but I'm making some ink to write myself a note because I keep forgetting what I'm doing. It's not the best stuff, obviously, but berry juice will stain a page at the very least. What is it that we're writing? We're going to write on the back of the Merry Gentleman's note, presumably. What is it that we're writing to ourselves? How many things did we forget? How many things do we remember regarding our situation? Some shenanigans regarding how many things we can remember. I give up. Those things are too complicated for me to understand. I don't know what you're asking. It's not a number of things that you're remembering or forgetting. It's a particular type of thing, it seems. It seems you're remembering stuff like your casting of spells and such, but to do with how you got here and where you were going and what your purpose in the forest was, even after you've read this note a couple of times from the Merry Gentleman, it almost immediately is fuzzy again by the time you've finished reading the note. Is the wound on our temple bleeding? You can use that blood to write. I don't believe we are wound. Oh yeah, no, we had a scratch, and we had a head wound. It's not a bloody one though. It's just a relatively recent cut or a scratch or something. It's clotted already. If I slap myself, does it sharpen my mind? You try. Doesn't seem to do anything to you, other than hurt your cheek. We could give Mel the Fey flower. You've got the note in hand and the ink for now, though. We'll keep that in mind, though. Homestead Hoppy, we might do that. Come back to that after we've written the note. Tree of Dave says, so we write on the back of the note, keep this note in our hand. We are forgetting things. Must make it to the location mentioned. Alright, perfect. And then at the bottom, keep walking. You write this down, you look at the note and you say, okay, East Renlac village, there's a friend there. Mind is foggy. Okay, keep walking. Mel, we need to keep moving. We need to find a village somewhere on this note. You keep moving then. You start sticking all of your stuff back in your bag. Can we hit ourselves with a stick, see if we remember something? You can definitely try. Yeah, you think, maybe if I hit myself, completely forgetting that you've got a sore cheek because of doing exactly this. You grab a stick and you kind of just like crack. Oh, it hurts, but it doesn't seem to help at all. Ow. You drop the stick on the ground. You can hear a waterfall though. There's a waterfall nearby. Water usually means a pretty good way to safety. Like creatures live around water because there's things to eat and drink around water. Water's usually a pretty good direction to go. So you start heading towards the waterfall. Very quickly you get to the edge of a waterfall where there is a huge boulder that's kind of in the middle of the stream. And it's been kind of worn away on the inside by the rushing of the river, and the river is almost diverting around this boulder and falling down this cascading down the cliff on the other side. You start to head down and climb your way down, picking and choosing your way down the waterfall beside it. It's easy enough done to climb yourself down, and Mel buzzes overhead. I'm going to have both of you and Mel make a perception check as you get to the bottom of this waterfall. Oh, a 16 and a 17. You're both going to notice. You get to the bottom of this waterfall, and you take a little drink, and you fill your water skin. You start to set off downstream of this waterfall, and you glance back and you see a woman standing there, and you sort of double take. Whoa, what the hell? And you realise no, it's not a woman. It just looked remarkably like a woman. On a second glance, on a double take, you realise it's actually the waterfall itself that looks like a woman. It is quite a huge waterfall in that it is. Where are we? It's about 30 feet tall and about 10 feet wide. But the way that the water is being diverted from the top and then crashing against various different rocks on the way down as it's tumbling down the water, it's not one of these that goes right over the edge of the water, over the edge and just falls. It is more like a water feature. It is choosing its path down this series of different rocks on the way down, and it creates the image, a three-dimensional image of an elven woman with long flowing hair, and part of the river that's flowing down the side is this water, and then the way that some of the rocks are created looks like the sort of indents of an elven woman's face. It is a huge and very intricate and very well made waterfall. You take a second to look at this waterfall woman and then say, Can you lead me to the nearest town? I can't remember things. She doesn't answer. She doesn't move. She doesn't seem to have noticed you or responded in any way. She may just be a non-sentient image of a woman rather than an actual woman. You look down at your hands and notice there's a note in your hands, and you give it a read. Find the East Renlac. There's a friend there. Are you the friend I've got to find from the East Renlac? It says I came to him here. I came to somebody somewhere about being a horizon walker. Is this the East Renlac? I've got to find a village. There's no response. I will, however, what's your passive perception in this situation? You're in a forest. Survival. So your survival with a +6 plus another 2, 8. You've got a +8. So your passive perception in this situation, it's enough to get you an active check. I'm going to roll you a survival check with a +8 forest bonus. 7, 15. So with a 15, After you read this out and you say, I've got to fix some sentinels, vital to keep the balance. I'm looking for a village in the East Drenlach. There is a kind of like when a gunshot goes off in a forest and a bunch of birds all at once take off. It's not quite that much, but there are like at least 3 or 4 birds that take off at once from a branch overhead and start flying away. And it's enough to catch your eye. Could it be some inaudible noise that's affecting our memory? Try blocking our ears. It's a good thought, Dr. Hogarth. After you're looking at the waterfall woman for a while, nothing happens, so you have this thought about it potentially being something you can't hear that's affecting you, and you close your ears off as tight as you can. You can barely hear the sounds of the rushing water now. You're doing your best to not hear anything, but it doesn't seem to affect your memory of where you are or what you're doing. Is this a sentinel that needs repair? Maybe, Matt. You talk to the waterfall in Sylvan. You read out the same thing, but in Sylvan now. There's no response. What happens if I put my hand in the waterfall? You walk over to it, you walk back to the waterfall, you start to climb up the side of it, and you get close enough to be able to put your hand in the water. And you put your hand in the water. Perception check, actually. Let's see if you do notice anything. 2 again. 2 plus your perception. You don't get survival bonus for this. Your whatchamacallit bonus, forest bonus. So it's just a 2 plus your wisdom, which is and it's not really a perception actually. It was more of a wisdom-based arcana check. It just feels like cold water. Feels like normal cold water. Was it the moment we uttered the word sentinel? It wasn't like one particular moment. It was like as you were reading out East Drenlach, I'm looking for sentinels to, and then like they took off, like halfway through the sentence. The birds scatter? No, they all were going the same direction. Say the word sentinel in each language. You say the word sentinel or the word that means the same in Common, Dwarvish, Sylvan, and Draconic, and there's no responses to any of from the water or anything around. The water's cold. It is cold. Yeah, it's late autumn, early winter. You're standing at this water. It's very cold and very refreshing though, and you think, why am I at a waterfall? I must be thirsty. And you take a drink of the water and you think, no, I'm not really that thirsty. Maybe I came to fill my water skin, and you look down and your water skin's full. You think, why was I at a waterfall then? Where was I going? You start to turn around to climb back down, and you realise you can't climb so easily because your hands are you've got something in your hands. You go to put the note in your bag and you see keep in your, and you're like, what? Keep in what? And you look at the note. Keep this note in your hand. You're forgetting things, keep moving. Oh shit. Oh shit, where was I going though? What was I doing? Okay, keep moving, and you set off down, thinking about putting the note in your bag and thinking, no, I've got to keep it in my hand. You get to the bottom of the waterfall, and you set off in the direction of downstream from the waterfall, and you glance back and you see, Jesus, there's a beautiful woman there. There's a beautiful like elven woman made out of this. Somebody's gone to exceptional, intricate design to like arrange the rocks of this cliff face in such a way that it resembles this beautiful 30-foot tall woman in this waterfall. The hell is that? What who? So there must be someone around here. You glance down and see the note in your hand. Keep moving. Okay, keep moving. There's some. I've got to. You glance back at the woman, and then you continue on down the downstream. Are there any other birds nearby? There are a couple of birds nearby, yeah. There's a few forest critters around. Can we hit a rock at the lady? You could. I'm going to say you've moved on now though, because the note said keep moving. So you've read the note and you've realised I need to keep moving. You say out loud, I want to leave here. Whoever's doing this, you're safe from me. I just want to follow this note from whoever it's from. I just need to keep moving. I don't mean anyone any harm. Do I sense magic or power from the waterfall or the statue? To a certain extent you do, in the sense that like there's this residual sort of static electricity in the air that you as a Horizon Walker interpret as force energy, force magic. There is definitely power, raw power of magic in this forest. Are we now going away from the green dot on the map? It doesn't... I mean, it's hard to know. You don't have a "you are here" that's moving with you, and you haven't thought to check the map in a while. As you're walking Homestead, you... let's see if you can remember to check the map. Intelligence saving throw, 17 plus 3. Yes, as you're walking, you think, I don't know where I'm going though. Is there a map of... Oh, I had a map. I had a map at some point. Did I have a map? And you look in your belongings, and you're looking for a map. I don't have a map, and you grab a book out. It's not a map. Where's... Oh, and you grab the cloak. It was on this. You put the note that was in your hand in your bag so that you can grab the cloak out, and you look at the map on the cloak, and you think, where am I though? And you look around to see where you are, and you can see that you're by a river, and there's just upstream is a waterfall. Maybe you can hear a waterfall. Is there a waterfall on this map? I mean, it's not that detailed. How do I... Maybe there's... You fold the cloak back up and put it back in your bag. Do you remember to grab the map again? The note. Relatively low DC because you've only just put it away. Yeah, 13 on your intelligence save. You grab the note back out. You grab the note back out, and you think, I don't know where I am on that map. But I was moving downstream. And you keep moving downstream. And as you move, you grab you look at the note, and you see it says, you keep forgetting where you are, keep moving. Okay, keep moving. Mel, do you know where we are? What's... She says, no, I don't, but there's water around, so we should be okay. We should just follow until if the water it goes to a lake, and then there's something, right? I don't know, maybe, I guess. You keep walking downstream. I'll have you make a perception check, please. Alright, with a 14 plus your survival bonus perception. It is enough to see this, to hear before you see it. As you're walking down this river, the wind seems to pick up. It starts to get louder, as if there's like a strong wind coming through the trees towards in front of you. There's like breeze moving through the trees. The branches are swaying and starting to strain. But where you're standing, there's no change in the wind. You don't feel the wind different across your skin. You can just hear it as if it's coming. And then it seems to blow past some tree branches in front of you, almost breaking them with the force of the wind. This sort of swirling vortex almost of dust and leaves and things that have been whipped from the trees flies overhead past you and then slams down into the ground, and it's just this rolling mass of air. It seems you can barely even see its form because it's only really visible by the things that are swirling around within it. But it seems to be made of wind and air, but it's definitely and distinctively the shape of an owl, a giant owl. This huge giant owl made of wind and air is sort of just standing in front of you. And then it opens its mouth, opens its beak, and goes, and it's making this sort of weird. It's like trying to manipulate air to sound like the cawing of an owl, or the screeching of an owl, but it's not got the vocal cords to do so, and so it's just making this horrible kind of grating wind noise instead. You are immediately frightened by it, and you immediately forget what it was that brought you here in the first place. But you do know that you are potentially in danger. What do? Well, hold out the panpipe, see if it plays. It could do. You say, are you whom I'm seeking? Are you the friend? Read the note out loud to the owl. Would we consider this an elemental? You absolutely would, yes. And it has been much longer than your 10 minutes from your pass with your protection from good and evil, so that is one off. Does it look aggressive? Hard to tell. It's very difficult to see any sort of facial expression on it. It's made of wind, so it's very difficult to see its outline. How large exactly? Larger than you. You're a dwarf, so larger, about as tall as a human, or slightly taller, perhaps. I think it can be size large, so depends on what size it wanted to be, really. But I think at this stage it's about the size of a human, so that it can move through the trees a little easier. We start to move backwards. We see the note in our hands and read it out. Is this someone I'm looking for? I don't mean any harm. You put up a hand to be like, I'm not danger. It says there's a village in the East Drenlark. I'm finding. I need to find a friend. You can tell me more. Are you my friend that I need to meet in the? It hops towards you and the wings go out. It seems now from this one that yes, it is aggressive, or it is trying to frighten away. It seems it's moved forwards and kind of got its wings out to make itself look bigger. I'm sorry, I can't understand you. Can you lead me to the East Drenlark? I'm supposed to be meeting someone. When you say that, it hops again closer. It's like it's trying to screech as an owl would. I'm not a threat. Please don't hurt me. Animal handling? It seems like this would be beyond animal handling. This is definitely not a real animal. Run back to the waterfall. Does it seem afraid, or maybe territorial or protective? Let's make a insight or animal handling check. I feel like animal handling to work out its body language. You're not actually able to affect or handle it because it's not got the mind of a real bird, but because it's using the body of a bird or the form of a bird, animal handling might be able to tell you a little more of its body language and its what have you. Not great. What was that? That was a 9. 9 plus your animal handling. Owls are forest birds, so forest bonus. I'll allow it. So that's going to be a plus 8, so 17. Still 17 from a 9. That's not bad. It seems like it is not predatory, in that it's not attacked you and it's not trying to eat you. It's not trying to stealth up and steal you away. It's definitely made itself known and then is trying to hop towards you, like trying to push you back upstream, like away from where you were going, like downstream. It came from that direction and landed and is now like preventing you getting any closer. So if anything, you'd say it's probably territorial. It's trying to intimidate you away rather than eat you or anything. What direction is downstream? East. You came from the west, following the river downstream, and it's now. It seems to be an animal elemental, yes. It's speaking, but in the language of the air elementals, primordial or specifically Auran, and we don't speak that language. It's like it's trying to screech like an owl, but it's not got the vocal cords for it. Could be protecting something, maybe. Are you friends with the water elf? You say, pointing back up the stream towards the waterfall. And elementals vaguely humanoid. They often are. Cake ladder, yes. This one is in the shape of an owl. Offer the owl a fey flower. You say, I'm not here to hurt you. I don't mean harm. I just need to find a place that's on this map. Let's see. Just need to think about something for a second. Would you forget who gave you this note? From the nature of what it is. No, you don't forget who sent you here. You just forget certain other details. You say, "Look, I've got a note from an archfey, merry gentleman. He sent me." As soon as you say that, the owl stops. It tucks its wings back, cocks its head like an owl does, and then there's colour seems to come to the wind. There's like this copperish kind of hue comes to through the wind, as if somebody's turning up the opacity. The owl shape seems to drop and slow, and the wind seems to slow down as it stops swirling around. There seems to be like this greenish kind of tinge around the central parts of it. It seems to take on more of a humanoid form slowly, and in a few moments there is a wood elf standing there. Long blonde hair, really tatty kind of, very little interest in the way that he looks. He's got twigs stuck in his hair. He's kind of dirty and a little bit disheveled. He's holding like a staff, a cane of some kind, like a walking stick sort of a thing. He's topless, except for a wooden breastplate that seems to have been grown from like a giant acorn seed of some sort of nut or a seed that has been created into this breastplate that he wears. Otherwise topless underneath. He's got this sort of loinclothy kind of clothing on the lower half, and he's just got an assortment of junk sticking out of various different bags and whatnot. He says, Merry gentlemen send you." This is what he looks like. He says, "Merry gentlemen send you." And you say, "Yes, yeah, I've got a note here that says that you can read it if you want." And he says, "No, see'd not read good. But merry gentlemen send you here?" And you say, "Yes, I think so. I've got a note. It says, I came to him in the Feywild to talk about things, and there's a village in the East Drenlach where I'll find a friend to tell me more. It says the sentinels must be fixed. It's vital to keep the balance." And when you mention the sentinels, he says, "Oh, merry gentlemen send you to help me fix sentinels. Come. And he gestures for you to come closer. Druid, potentially. Seems like he has wild-shaped or polymorphed or something, elemental-wise. "Your name is Seed?" "Yes, Seed." And he points to himself. It seems like this guy's not very good at common. I'm constantly forgetting things. I don't know why. I don't know. And he says, "Yes, Steam." What do you mean? Sorry. "Steam. You forget because Steam. Come. Does he speak Sylvan? You can speak to him in Sylvan. You say, you switch to Sylvan, saying, "I can tell your common isn't strong, but I can speak to you in Sylvan if you want." And he looks at you confused. Do you speak Sylvan? You say in Sylvan. Okay, and you turn back to common. Maybe not. "Seed, this is my friend Mel. Mel, this is Seed." "Ah, Mel. Mel is a giant bee." And you say, "That's right, yeah." And Mel goes buzzing down. And he puts his he immediately grabs into his pouch and brings out some food, and he's got all kinds of just food everywhere, here, there, and everywhere. And it seems what he brings out is some kind of mushed up fruit, like it's going to be like nectar kind of thing. "Seed knows Mel. Seed knows Mel. I have friend Mel in Team Goo." And he holds up his hand with this sort of mushed up fruit nectar on it, and Mel comes down and starts eating from it. And you say, "And I'm Apis." He says, Apis. Come, Apis. You forget cause Sentinel. What do you guys want to do?" Seed is a wood elf, not a fey, I think. Yeah, Seed is a wood elf. I mean, wood elves are fey born, fey ancestry, sorry. But not directly fey. "Is Steam the Sentinel?" "Yes, Steam Sentinel, yes." here to fix sentinel, so we go with. All right, follow him. I think we should give Seed all our money. Maybe kick ladder. You follow him, and as you follow, you say, "How do you know Mel? Do you know where we are in Rin?" In Rin? In Rin, yeah. Do you know whereabouts we are? Yes, we near village. Okay, but which village are we nearby? Yes, nearby. For those who haven't worked it out yet, Cake Ladder in the chat is a friend of mine in real life, and he plays this character, or played this character a long time ago when I first started my campaign. Seed is essentially now an NPC because Cake Ladder and I never have the chance to actually play that particular element of this story anymore. So Seed is joining your story instead, so that I can still give Cake Ladder a chance to explore Seed's story, because he doesn't get the chance otherwise. So Cake Ladder is not like a Seed is not an element directly of Seed is not an element directly of Apus's party. Again, they're going to be like an NPC, like anybody else. But Seed is an existing character that of my world, and you have now joined forces with, and you're crossing ties with a large element of my homebrew campaigns, my home run campaigns. So Cake Ladder created Seed King of Village, yeah. Seed King of Village. So Cake Ladder, if you do need to jump away at any point, obviously for work, I understand. But if you want to speak for Seed, whenever you're here, you can absolutely do so. When the map is being shown, can we ask where are the sentinels? Get that pointed out and add them to the map. Yeah. So as you're walking, and he's taking you to village, apparently, you're learning very quickly that not only is he not great at common, he is very, very wise, not at all intelligent. You would learn as you speak with him very quickly that his vocabulary is very limited, and not only his vocabulary but his understanding of the concept of various different tricky words would be very limited. However, there would be no one better. He would rival the best druids you've ever known in terms of his understanding of the forest and his general perception and understanding of his surroundings, his understanding of how animals work and how even monstrosities work. Like, there's a lot of things you'll pick up just from his body language and stuff. He's very wise, very unintelligent. You get your map out to your map cloak, and you show him the inside of the cloak as you walk, and you say, "Can you tell me like where we are on here? Is this a map?" And Seed, I think, would. I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna roll something for Seed here, given his wisdom. Like he's not super familiar with maps, but would he be able to understand that the thing that he's looking at, is a top-down view of his forest? Now that he is able to go air elemental, he could have taken bird's eye views of his forest a little bit more. So, not 20. All right, so that answers that. He is Seed is able to understand after a few moments walking with this cloak in hand. He's able to understand. Oh, this is kind of like a view of the forest a little bit. And he points out village, and he points to the green dot on the map. Village. He does see the forest top down a lot. Yes, he does, yeah. Yeah, you'd also notice that he's super confident in this environment. A lot of know-how without being able to articulate it, yes. Seed, I can't remember, how do we fix the sentinels? And he says, oh, lots of sentinels, lots of fix needed. Do you know how to stop the amnesia thing? He kind of looks at you a little bit blankly when you say an amnesia. He doesn't seem to understand what amnesia is. I keep forgetting things. Do you know how to... Yes, Steam Sentinel. Ask Seed about Mel while we walk. You said you know Mel. You point to Mel. Yes, B. How do you know Mel? Oh, Mel is from Team Goo. Mel is I don't think you'd know the word warlock, would you? Mel is friend of Seed, but Mel angry if Seed send Mel is angry if Seed send B to talk with Mel. Mel angry with Seed because of bees. He says, Seed need thumbs to fix sentinels. Seed friends have no thumbs. How do I protect myself from forgetting, Seed? Steam. Steam like water. Am I breathing it? Yes, breathe steam. Oh, okay. As you're walking, you're with this guy. You're remembering who this guy is, but you can't remember where he's taking you or what you were here for. Like, who is this guy? Like, who? You know that you're with this guy and he's like helping you somehow, but he's helping you where? Like, where is he? Where? And you keep asking him, like, where are we going? Eventually, after you've asked him this like a dozen times or so, he just stops answering. Like, he realizes that you can't remember, and he just stops answering. Mel angry with merry gentleman too. Mel very angry man. Mel, do you know Seed? And she says, no, I don't know you, sorry, but someday. And Seed says, you speak with B? And you say, yes, we speak a language, we understand each other. Pull out some cloth, cover our mouth and nose, try and catch the steam before we breathe it. You put your cloth over your mouth, and Seed notices this after a few minutes and says, what do you breathe? And you say, I'm just breathing through this to try and... You said that something about breathing before? I don't remember why I'm doing this. Yes, breathe steam. Mel think important, tree not important, but tree very important, tree most important. Why doesn't the steam affect you? You look around, by the way, there's no steam. There's no steam in the air. There's a very big difference between water vapor and steam, and there's no steam. Can we make steam here, Seed? No. Steam over here. And he keeps pointing in the direction that he's sending you. He's walking with you. You're not going too much further before you hear this sort of cracking of wood nearby, and Seed stops and looks, and then sort of smiles and keeps walking. But then there's this sort of popping sort of sound. And as out from the direction off to your left, this huge, like a, I don't want to be gross about it, but it's like a pimple has popped kind of a thing. There's this huge torrent of like a water bomb has burst in in like a very particular direction. This gunk a pustule seems to have popped from nearby, and it flicks out from a nearby like tree stump. It looks like this very large tree, kind of like the base of like a redwood or something that has been collapsed long ago. It seems like probably about 10 feet tall or so, this huge mound of wood. But this pustule seems to have popped from it and spread right towards you in this like long stringy line. And as soon as it hits you, it seems to react with the air in like this chemical reaction and create this long, very thick, very sinuous tendon that connects from you to the tree. And then as it hits you and kind of like it immediately starts to pull in, and you can see that this one of these knots in the tree seems to open up, and you can see an eyeball right behind this tree. And you need to roll initiative. You get a 9 plus your initiative of 3. So you are going to go 12 unless you want to use your inspiration or lucky horseshoe to re-roll this. I'm going to roll for that thing, and then also Seed and Mel. Alright. Okay. We're not going to re-roll initiative. With a 12, you're not going to go first, but you are going to go ahead of Seed. So in terms of what is happening, it's gonna you're not gonna be able to, like, it's all happening very simultaneously. Seed has kind of heard this noise and then moved away, and as he's moving away, you got hit and dragged, and the initiative kicked off. So we're not gonna like be able to call out to get Seed to help us yet, but he's going after you. All right. So as you are hit by this thing and kind of dragged, his eyeball opens up, and then this huge like crack in the wood towards the bottom opens up as well, and you see these huge rows of teeth as it's pulling you towards. You get dragged all of the way towards it, and then it's going to make a bite attack at you. Kind of Mimic-esque, yes. That is definitely going to hit you. I didn't actually grab the note, the stat block up for him. The attack, false appearance, blah blah, bite attack. Here we go. So that is going to hit with an 18 to hit, and then it hits you for 1, 2, 3, 4d8. And that's going to be 14, and another 6 is 20, plus 4 is 24. 24 points of piercing damage. As you get dragged towards it, it grabs you and crunches you. Show the mini. What it looks kind of like. It looks kind of like this, but imagine instead of rock, imagine wood. And there's only one of those tendrils. It has dragged you closer, and then it has used those extruded mouths to just grab you. Displacer Cloak, thank you for the reminder. So that was even higher. Yeah, with the Displacer Cloak, it got an 18 or a 25. It dragged you closer and just bit down on the entire area around your form, and so it didn't matter where you were. It crunched you. That's its turn. It is now your turn to respond. As this is happening, Seed is like, things happen simultaneously in the round. So Seed is just kind of walking this way, and then this happens and drags you away. And Seed is like in the process of turning around to see what's happening. What do you do? Misty Step. So Misty Step, run, action, dash. Is that what we want to do? I'm not going to put it to an individuals unless we can't get in some sort of a consensus here. What do you guys want? Misty Step and run, dash? Yeah, Misty Step. Sound good. Everybody seems to be on board with this. So you use your Misty Step ability. You call out, "Oh shit!" and then you are surrounded in... I do have the outwork cake ladder, yes. You are surrounded in mist, and you step out of this guy's tendril, out of this guy's teeth, 30 feet away towards Seed, like you actually pass Seed at this point, and you say, "Watch out, watch out!" And you grab your bow and arrow, and you start to like action dash, moving away. That is your turn. Seed on his turn turns and hears the noise and says, "No, Pointy, no, Pointy! Pointy, stop!" And he puts his hands up. "Pointy, stop, Pointy!" And the creature, just having bursting another pustule, it kind of like stops it halfway, and it kind of like goes limp and then sucks this tendril-like thing back into itself. You see the uprooted tree seem to start to move your way, as if it's just sort of sliding along and on some sort of, maybe it's got tendrils underneath, or maybe it's just like hovering, or some way it's just kind of slowly moving towards you, slightly slower than you can move. You shout, "Mel, get away from it!" And then Seed grabs a fish out of his bag and throws it towards Pointy. And as he throws it through the air, another pustule fires off a tendril, which immediately hits the fish and drags it to his mouth. And I will pull up the artwork of it. This is what it looks like. Thank you to SpideyNZ for the artwork, as always. Character art. Seed and Pointy. Pointy, for those who don't know D&D monsters super well, is a roper. A roper, a type of monstrosity. A roper evolves from a piercer. A piercer looks like a tiny little stalactite hanging off the roof, and it drops and it lands on its target and hopefully impales them, and then it eats them, and then it climbs back up onto the ceiling of a cave or a cavern. And that is exactly where Pointy came from. Seed was going through a cavern. Seed was going through a cave, a dungeon, in my second ever game with him. And as a man of the forest, he decided to keep one of these as a cute little pet. And then it grew up and got larger and grew older and older and older and more monstrous. And but now it's a full-grown roper that obeys his commands as a pet does. Super cute, right? Super cute. Is that a barrel on Seed's ankle? Yes, it is. Yeah, Seed patches his clothing together from all kinds of shit, and you can see better on this one than the mini that he's got this sort of acorn-like breastplate made of wood, and his club, his staff. It's a very cool drawing, but this is who is now with you. Yes, Seed didn't know that as an ambush predator in a cave system, the ropers and piercers were evolved to eat maybe like once a month, like famine and feast kind of eating, and so Seed would give it a goodberry every day, and a goodberry is specifically all of the nutrition that you possibly need, and so every time he was feeding it, it was growing larger and quicker and larger and quicker, and in the space of like a week, it was a fully grown roper. And he continues to feed it. But Seed has been training Pointy. But Apis doesn't know any of this in the moment. Apis knows that this is a horrendous, hideous creature that has ambushed them in the forest, and then Seed has stopped. Stop, Pointy, and then thrown him a fish. And then Seed walks over, and you hear him saying, Pointy, Apis is friend, Mel, and Pointy's eye goes up to Mel, and he says, Mel is friend too. Mel and Apis friend. They are friend of merry gentlemen. Seed, quick question. What the hell? As you're nursing this very deep wound of bark-like teeth that had come into you. Oh, sorry. And Seed turns around and definitely has healing spells available. We'll cast a second level Cure Wounds on you. Seed walks over and casts Cure Wounds on you for 7 plus his Wisdom modifier of 5. So that's 12 points of healing from your damage from before. So I see that there's other people here with unusual companions. Yes, Seed is different, but Seed helped protect village. Village. Oh, village. I have to find a village. You suddenly remember as well. Technically bitten by the dog of the elf, kind of. Do we roll for healing with the info? Oh yes, thank you, Cake Ladder. You do not roll for healing. Thank you for the reminder. Instead of so he casts Cure Wounds, and you get 21 points of healing. You get 21 points of healing, and your wounds are largely better again. You're not bleeding anymore. You've still got blood over your armor. Your plant material seems to have blood on it. But the plants were not punctured. It seems like when it bit you, it punctured through the armor of the plants and into the armor of your studded leather. And then as he let go, or you misty stepped away, the plants immediately shifted themselves to recover those areas again. Sorry. Seed is good protecting for village, and you're like, yeah, that's right. I need to find a village. Is there a village nearby I need to find or something? And he says, yes, village. We go to village, but first to steam. And he says, Pointy, come. And you and Pointy and Seed all walk at differing rates. Seed having to slow himself down to meet your speed, and you having to slow yourself down to meet Pointy's speed. Pointy, unlike other ropers, can move at 20 feet per round rather than 10 because he took the mobile feat when he leveled up. But Pointy is still slower than most humanoids. You're walking with Seed and Pointy for a little while longer, some indeterminate length of time, trying to, maybe keeping yourself on the other side of Seed from where Pointy is. All of the side eye, And then for some amount of time you're walking, it's hard to keep a track because you're forgetting where you are or what you were doing here, and you definitely don't forget either of these two or Mel, but like you do forget where they came from or what brought you to this point. It's not too much further though before eventually you come across a clearing. You see in this clearing a 12-foot long, 2-foot wide aqueduct made of stone. It runs from the nearby river that you were walking beside, and it runs through a long bed of hot coals, and the hot coals are seemingly kept replenished. Seed comes along and grabs some of the coals out of a bucket and places them onto this bed again, keeping them hot. You then see Seed shape. Remind me, Cake Ladder, the fire form. Was it a fox? Fox doesn't sound right. What's your fire form? You see him place some coals on this bed. Porcupine, thank you. Yes. You then see his shape seem to get hotter and brighter as all of his clothing and all of his possessions on his person, everything he's carrying, shifts back into his body, and he sort of curls over until he's on all fours, and he's got this sort of longer nose and this sort of more bulbous body, but he is made entirely out of fire. You can see the flickering flames creating the quills of his back. He doesn't get too close to you, but he does walk up to the stone aqueduct and just sort of like nozzle down into the coals along it until they are burning with flame. He gets out to the other end, walks around, and then shifts himself back into Seed's form. And the water that's running through the aqueduct is immediately starting to boil and steam. And as it's steaming, it's rising from the aqueduct, and it is being caught right above it by this long square, not very deep, but very wide structure made of wood. Directly above the aqueduct is a 10-foot square by 2-foot deep hollow wooden block with an open base to it. In the front side of the wooden block, there are many small holes carved out in very strategic positions and directions, so that as the steam rises from the aqueduct, it goes into this wooden block, and then it pours out of these various different holes on the front. The wood is very interestingly carved, yes. The wood seems to be carved not only from a single block of wood, but it seems to have been moulded. If you didn't know better, you'd say that this wood seems almost like it was created from clay. It seems like it's been moulded and pressed in certain areas, dinted and dented in ways that would only be manageable if the wood was malleable as clay is. The steam heads into the aqueduct and is forced out of the holes in the front, and as it does so and then rises from the front, it creates a three-dimensional image of an elven man. Steam, Seed says, and points at the steam rising from the block that's now starting to pour out with more strength now that he's turned the steam back on again, lit the coals beneath it. So do I breathe that to remember things? He says, yes, you stay here for a small rest, and then after some time you remember. Can we see how old the aqueduct might be? Stonework history bonus, absolutely we can. But yes, as a dwarf, we are familiar with stonework, and we get, what is it? You get advantage, or I think you get double your proficiency bonus, don't you? So you are not proficient in history, but when it comes to stonework, you are considered proficient in history, and you get double your proficiency. So that would be a +6 plus your intelligence of 3. So you're going to get a +9 to your stonework. That is a 5. 5 plus 9 is still a 14, so not the worst, but not the best either. With a 14, you can tell that it is old. That's pretty much all you're going to get from it. You can tell that it is old stonework and that it is not dwarven made. Unfortunately, with a 14, you're not going to get much more than that. Very well made, though. Very well made. And looked after. Well looked after by Seed, it seems. Or by someone. We met a lady like that at the waterfall before. There was a lady. Was she water as well? And Seed says, yes, water. So there's a steam one and a water one. Oh yes, and earth and fire and wood and more. How many sentinels are there? Oh, lots. And they all need fixing. Yes. Can we tell how old Seed is? No, very, very, very difficult to tell. With an elf, it's very difficult to tell anyway. Once the elves get very old and wizened, like hundreds and hundreds of years old, then you can kind of start to tell. But until that time, very difficult. You can tell that he is young. I will say, actually, yeah, I'll say that you can tell that he is a young elf, maybe even not fully adult. Can we tell if Seed is older than the stone? You would no. When I said old for the stone, I mean like really old, hundreds of years old, and Seed possibly not that much. Tell Seed, thank you, thank you for helping. What's wrong with the sentinels? Oh, sentinels broken in lots of ways. Some sentinels smashed, some sentinels stolen, some I wouldn't say disrupted. Some smashed, some broken, some made to go wrong in lots of ways. And do we know why they need fixing? Oh yes, someone break. Seed, do you know the Merry Gentleman? Oh yes, Seed know Merry Gentleman. Do you know how to bring back memories of the Feywild? We left there and we forgot meeting him. Seed been to Feywild. Seed not remember too much. Seed remember when Merry Gentleman wants Seed to remember. Why are the sentinels needed? Merry Gentlemen say sentinels need to be fixed. Seed fix some, but Seed need tools and gems and steel. You need tools to fix them? Yes, need tools to fix and gems and steel. You need gems to fix them as well. Yes, some need money. Some need lots of shiny things. Who broke them? K-Clad, do you know who broke them? I can't remember if I ever revealed that to you. I think I did, but I can't fully remember whether Seed would remember or no. Seed thinks Shadow Man broke them. Who's the Shadow Man? Is he made of shadow? Seed, Shadow Man is bad man. He stand in shadow and Team Goo not like Shadow Man. Is he still around, this Shadow Man? Maybe, but maybe not. Seed not see Shadow Man in a long time. Not since Shadow Man came and broke rocks outside village. Shadow Man not get to tree though. Shadow Man try but not get to tree. Take a short rest here. Yeah, you guys start to set up. You sit down and short rest. You can talk to Seed while you're short resting. Was the Shadow Man a necromancer? Seed not know necromancer. Did he work with dead things? Did he make dead things come back to life again? No, not dead things. Trees and animals. He used trees and animals to break village. Seed try fix village now. Seed fight Shadow Man. Shadow Man have bad army. What is Team Goo? Oh, Team Goo. Seed is part of Team Goo. Seed is member of Team Goo. Team Goo is people who fight Shadow Man. What do the sentinels do? Do you know where the Shadow Man lives? No, not know where lives. Julian might help know where Shadow Man is, but Julian can sense when Shadow Man's back. I'm sorry, who's Julian? Julian is friend of Seed. He lives in village. Did the Shadow Man make a portal in the Great Expanse? Seed kind of just looks at you blankly for that. Doesn't fully understand what the Great Expanse is by the sounds of it. Were the sentinels being broken again, or are they only broken once? Seed not break again. No, Seed. No, not you. But like, did have somebody else broken the sentinels again? All sentinels broken. You're starting to realise the frustration of talking to somebody with a 6 intelligence. He's literally as intelligent as Mel. So did you have fixed some of the sentinels? Yes, Seed fixed Steam Sentinel and Seed fixed Water Sentinel. Okay. And did anybody break the Steam Sentinel after you fixed it? No. Steam Sentinel stay fixed. Okay, and the Water Sentinel has stayed fixed. Yes, Water has not stay fixed after Seed fixed. Shadowman come if Lagan call one time. Seed call, but Shadowman not come. Who called one time? Lagan called. Lagan called the Shadowman and he came. Yes. Who Lagan? You're talking like him now. Who is Lagan? Lagan is Team Goot. Lagan is what's a word that you would use? Head of Team Goo. Lagan is head of Team Goo. He is human man. So once fixed, they stay fixed. Yes. Can you bring me to the other sentinels? Yes. After about half an hour of questioning and talking and like breathing in the steam of this area, kind of like a sauna, your memories of why you were here become a lot clearer. You start to remember getting here. You remember coming out of a portal from the Feywild and having a note. You remember, I had to find a village and a friend. All of your memories start to attune essentially to the Steam Sentinel, and the Steam Sentinel allows you to remember your time here in this part of the forest. Are you the friend that I would be sent to find from the Merry Gentleman? Maybe. Seed can be friend. Seed is friend of Merry Gentleman. Okay. And is this the East Drenlac? Yes, you in Drenlac. Okay. You have never heard of... Actually, there's a very small chance you might have. I'm going to make you a history check to see if you have heard of the Drenlac. I don't think you will have, though, but there's always a chance for nat 20, isn't there? That one is cocked. That one's almost cocked, but it was more of an 11 than not. 11 plus your modifier of history is not going to be enough. You've not heard of the Drenlac, which surprises you and a little bit concerns you probably, because you probably realise that you can't be in an area of the forest that you have heard of before, and you can't therefore be anywhere near where you were when you set off. You are reminded, however, that the flora and fauna around are not too dissimilar, so you can't be a million miles away. Possibly. There's always magic. Why did Lagan call the Shadow Man? I don't know what Seed would answer to that. I don't know if Seed knows why Lagan called the Shadow Man. Lagan is leader of Team Goo. At least he want to be. He having mating season all time. Make himself pretty all times. He having mating season, all of that. He having mating season all time. Make himself pretty all times. How many sentinels are there? Oh, lots of sentinels. I don't... Seed not know all sentinels. Julian knows sentinels. Are there other places near here with other people? Oh yes, other village, close-ish. and some village of mushroom people, and some village of animal people, and other village of elf people. Can we ask Seed if they know of any of the places we've been previously? Yeah, you mentioned a couple of the places you've been to. Do you know Shadridge or Fondurg? Do you know the Lannis Woods? Do you know the Giftegald Forest? Shafgushel? Do you know the Four Sisters? None of this is ringing any bells, except for the Four Sisters, which you very quickly realise he's misunderstood, and he tries to list a couple of elven sisters that he knows. No, the rest of it, he hasn't heard of any of those things. Shadowmen have talk, not fight. What was the name of the other named person besides Lagan? Oh, sorry, that's not in quotation marks, that's you. The other name that he's mentioned is Lagan the Shadowman and Julian. Was it Julius? Oh shit, it's been too long now. I remember I always got it right, and everybody else always said it the wrong one, and I had to correct them. And now it's been so long since I've been in this particular part of the world in my head that now I'm doubting myself whether it was Julian or Julius. I think it was Julius. I think it was Julius, not Julian. I've probably got it in my notes somewhere, but God knows how long it would take me to find it. Seed have loud mushroom now. Yeah, Seed have loud mushroom now. I'm sorry, what? Seed have loud mushroom. Okay. You think for a second as to like how you could possibly otherwise interpret that. A loud mushroom. Maybe he just doesn't understand what loud means. I don't know. You'll find out, I guess. How close are the elf people? Do they like not elf people? Elf people close-ish. Elf people few hours. Okay. A few hours walk away. Not exactly close, but close enough to get to in a day. See, can you take me to Julius, so I can get more information about the Sentinels? Yes, you remember thing now? And he points to the steam. Yeah, I think I'm remembering a lot more now. I think I'm good to go. Will this just stick around, this steam? Will I have to come back here? No, not come back. Not until leave forest and for a long time. Okay, so as long as I'm in the forest, I'll remember because of this. Yes, you remember. Okay, I think I'm good to go then. Should we meet your village? Should we go to your village? Yes, let's go. You start heading with Pointy and Seed in the direction of where you came from, but then very quickly kind of veer off a little bit more to the right and sort of curl round in a different direction. What's a loud mushroom? Loud mushroom make warning now. No sneak up on village. Oh, so is it a mushroom like grows in the ground? Yes, mushroom in ground. But it makes a noise. Yes, when people get close, mushroom make noise, loud noise. No sneak up on village now. Shadow man, no sneak up. Where are you from, Seed? Seed from here. Is it a talking mushroom? Does it talk? No, not talk. Just shout, scream, make noise. Do you like panpipes? Yes, Seed like music, and you start to play some panpipes. Let's see how it goes. Let's roll your panpipes check. You're always great at these. Nothing ever could go wrong from rolling panpipes. Roll it in the tray, Rob, and that's a 9. 9 plus your panpipes is a +1. That's a 10. No, sorry, plus 4 because you're proficient in them. So 13. 13's okay. 13 is below average for you, but an okay amount of music. It is probably on the average side of things because there was nothing could go wrong or right from actually playing them. So therefore, you didn't need to actually attempt something with them. Can we ask Seed if they know anything about the hill and the iron gate that we saw on the dead area? Yes, so now that stuff's coming back to your memory, you say, Seed, on your way here there was like a dead part of the forest. Where dead forest? And you describe it as best you can. Being an outlander yourself, you're pretty good at directions and things now that you've got your memory back. Oh, it's about this far up the forest, and using direction and time and things, which isn't great for Seed, but you realize that and kind of like adjust how you're describing things to be like just long way in that direction and then a little bit over towards the mountains or whatever. Eventually you describe something to a point where Seed says, yes, yeah, hags, hags from there. Team Goo deal with hags. No more hags. Oh, okay. But the hags were from that area. Yes, hags. And you say there was a hill with some iron. And he says, yes, hags. Hag lady live on that hill, but big house became small house. Meltek house. And you turn to Mel and you're like, is this a different Mel? And you say, Meltek house. It's house made tiny when hag die. Is it like the info Wraith was asking about? Or did Wraith? Must have missed it. Does Apis know what continent they grew up on? Does Apis know the continent name? I think so, yeah. Let me just roll a check real quick. As long as it's not a 1, I think you should be good. Yeah, 14. 14 plus stuff. You would know the name of the continent is Peor. Peore. Peor. Does Seed know what continent they're on? Nope, definitely not. What places are near Drenlark? Check if we recognise any. You ask Seed, what places are near the Drenlark? Have you been outside the Drenlark? Yes, Seed been outside Drenlark. What else is in the Drenlark then? And Seed starts to list Lake Town, Stanhon, Seed been to Dwarf City, things like that. So I'm going to roll you a history check, see if you've heard a couple of the places that he's mentioning. Yep, 5. 5 again with your history, not good enough. You haven't heard of Stanhon, you haven't heard of Lake Town, you haven't heard of the places that he's mentioning. It seems the more things that he's mentioning, the more you're coming to the conclusion that you're not close by where you were. So as you walk, you are well, as you walk or slither in Pointy's case, you're finding how do I describe this? You're finding there's a lot of damage done relatively recently in the forest around. There's a lot of damage done to the trees that have been kind of smashed up a little bit, and with increasing I'm losing all my words. Frequency, maybe. You're seeing some damage done to trees with increasing frequency as you walk. There's like branches hanging off. There's a couple of fallen trees. There's also damage done to the ground itself. The ground has been sort of upturned and churned up a little bit. It seems with more and more increasing regularity, that there must have been a lot of traffic through here relatively recently. I mean, like in the last month, maybe in the last couple of weeks. There's a lot of commotion happened. As you walk, you say, "What's going on here, Seed?" And you say, Seed says, "Bad army came through with Shadow Man and smashed village, and then come through with trees and moving. Army was made of trees and plants and animals, and so could sneak up on village without seen from long way. Seed have friends all over. Seed have friends all over forest who look for things like bad man, animal friends, and animal friends not see bad army coming to village because army made of plants and animals. They smash up trees and but Seed make better now. Seed make better, and you see that there is forced regrowth. There is evidence of druidic magic that has been put into play to try and like force some of this magic to retain its once druidic nature divinity. There are plants and vines that are growing in very clear fashions that would not be possible without magic, if that makes sense. As you're walking as well, there are a couple of moments of fright, of like seeing things in the corner of your eye that you, holy shit, you see this gigantic scorpion that is like held in this sort of scary kind of posture, but then you realize it's sort of like a statue almost. It's not moving, and it's not. And once you get a fright, Seed says, "No worry, no worries. That from Seed." And you're not exactly sure what he means until you realize that it is an exoskeleton of a scorpion. It's a huge scorpion exoskeleton that has now been used as almost like a plant pot. It's got vines and plants growing out of it and in and through it. Forced regrowth on top of clearly sapped prior growth. Yes, snapped prior growth. Yes, yeah, that's what I meant. Plant pot, love it. Yeah, it's pretty ingenious idea. This scorpion-like thing is good for like scaring off creatures that are not meant to be in this area, but it looks like it's also serving a purpose for the druidic magic. It's being used to regrow things. On our travels, can we keep a look out for herbs and plants we may see? I was thinking to reference our location with our herbalist book. You absolutely can. Yeah, you as you walk, you can tell that it is. There are a couple of differences to the forests that you've grown up in. Like there's a couple of subtle differences that you only pick up on by the fact that you are a ranger and an outlander. But for the most part, you would guess that you are probably within a couple 100 miles of where you grew up, rather than like thousands of miles away. It's mostly the same flora and fauna that you grew up around. Seed, is the Shadow Man a bad druid? No, not druid. No, Shadow Men have different magic. As you get closer and closer, you are seeing more and more of life returning to the broken forest. It seems like the fragmented, smashed up bits that you were walking through were kind of further out from the village, stuff that Seed hasn't had the chance to actually get to and fix yet. But the closer you are getting to the village, the more you are seeing the regrowth of the forest, the more that you are seeing the natural magics taking back over, and the more you are feeling that same sense of tingling coming back into your arms, like there's definite raw magical power here. Eventually, the tree line stops, and you step out of the tree line to see this large sort of open grassy hillscape that leads up towards an enormous tree that is sticking out from the other side of this hill. You can't see the base of it, because of the nature of the hill in your way, but you can see the canopy, and it is huge. It looks kind of like a big oak tree or some sort of big, strong, powerful tree, but it is way bigger than it should be. Seed points and says, village, Seed village. And as you start to approach the hill, you see there's a couple of bits of movement flittering around the top of this hill. You see fairies and pixies and things. They're flittering back and forth. Not a million of them, but you see like a handful. He says, Seed, did you grow that tree? No, Seed is Seed that tree here when Seed got here. Tree very important. Village have books. Seed look at pictures. Yes. You start to walk up the hillside, and as you get to the top, as you get towards the top of the hill, there is this like glow. It must be late in the day by now. It's probably late evening, and the sun is going down, kind of on the other side of this hill. But you see this brighter glow, as if there's this, as if the sun that is setting over the other side of this hill has suddenly started to get brighter again. As you're approaching the apex of this hill towards the village, this glow gets brighter until eventually you can also hear clock, 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 clock. And you, emerging first over the top of this hill, a horn appears over the top of the hill, followed closely by this long golden mane, and then this head of this beautiful equine creature. And as the body of this unicorn steps up over the top of the hill, Seed says, "Ah, Julius, friend Apis and friend Mel." And you are in the presence of a glorious unicorn. And Julius steps forwards onto the top of this hill, looking down at all four of you, with Pointy there as well. Shakes his head slowly back and forth, and then you feel this, like a warm breeze, come from Julius. It passes over you, and Julius's voice in your head says, "You have a good heart, Apis. You are welcome here, wherever you mean the forest no harm. I understand from Kurapira that he was sending you. We did not expect you to come in through the back door. I'm sure you have many questions, but your excursion from the Feywild has probably left you reeling a little. How is your memory?" Not good. I don't remember. I remember things fine from the steam sentinel seeds just taking me to the steam sentinel. But I don't remember any of my time in the Feywild. Yes, we wondered that might be the case. Where did you expect me to come from? He turns his head back towards the village over the mound that he's standing on top of. Says, "From the portal, of course." Did I not come from the portal? No. No, you did not. Let me show you around Let me show you around Drenvale. And then he speaks aloud and says, "Thank you, Seed. I'm glad that it was who we were expecting and not something worse. Your spell seems to be working wonders." And Seed says, "Yes, lots of friends in forest now. Lots of friends in forest. Seed one time go into the tree. It bigger on inside." Yes. He turns and clops his way to the top of the hill. "Is that portal," you say to the unicorn, "is that portal bidirectional and fixed in the location?" He says, "Oh yes. Yes, it's bidirectional from here to the Feywild. And it's fixed in location, very much so. You could say it's rooted in location." And he gets to the top of the hill, and you crest over the hill, and you can see for the first time the village laid out in front of you. What you see first, however, is a collection of... you would have cleared it away by now, Seed. So it's not the rubble, but it's the shattered remains of what would have once been a bit of a rock wall. Not necessarily, like a natural rock encasement of this the top of this hill. You're looking down into essentially like a basin. The hill is like a circular ring almost. Actually, it's more like a horseshoe ring. There's this horseshoe ring of hillside, and on the top of it is this sort of natural encasement of rock. And the rock has been shattered in the area that you're standing. The entrance of the village, as it were, has been shattered up and smashed, and has now been removed of its rocky rubble. But it is clear that the bad army that came through, has smashed this particular part. You look down the hill, and you can see that at the sides there are these very, very thick brambles all the way across the sides of the village. There are about a dozen buildings in this very small village. In the very centre of the village is a large circular pond with a moat about 10 to 15 feet wide. And then on the inside of that moat, on the little round circular island, is the base of the tree. The tree is growing from a small island in the base of this moat. You would immediately know, as with your survivalist and nature abilities, your understanding of trees and nature as a ranger, that there is no possible way that a tree of this size would have a root system so thin as to fit onto the island that it's on. So obviously there's magic involved in some way. There is the roots of this tree should spread way past the moat of this island that it's on, but it obviously doesn't. Past the tree, You see there's a large building. The largest of all of the buildings seems like a bit of a temple. And then past that is a huge, impossibly flat and vertical stone wall. Raises about 150 feet in the air. And almost to the top of this tree. This enormous, enormous tree. Julian turns to you and says, "Welcome to Drenvale. I'm sure if the Merry Gentleman has personally seen to it that you come to help us rebuild, you must be quite important. He let me know that you're a Horizon Walker, is that true?" He says, "As far as I know anyway. I don't fully know what it means yet, but yes, I am a Horizon Walker, so they tell me." Fascinating. Fascinating. Stonework history check on the wall. I mean, make use of it, eh? Make use of it. People complain that it's a useless thing for dwarves, but I actually find that it comes up quite often in my games. But a natural 1, unfortunately, is not a great attempt at it. So a natural 1 with your stonework proficiency would take it to a 10. So still average for a normal person, but for a dwarf. Maybe you can try again another time. At this stage, there's just too much to take in. You look at the stonework wall and you think, I'll check that out later, but nothing comes to you yet. Do you know how far I am from where I came from? What does Julius know about your origins? I don't think the Merry Gentleman would have told you everything. Told him everything? No. He says, "No, I'm afraid not. I don't exactly know where you're from." "Apis have thumbs, Julius. They do thumb work that you can't." And Julius says, "Yes, I think that's probably why Kurupira has sent them here." And sort of looks at you for confirmation of the pronoun he used. And you should kind of give him a nod. "You will be very useful with thumbs, unfortunately." And he kind of like rears back a little bit and lifts up one of his legs, which has got like goat hoof, cloven hoof situation. It's not horse legs, but more like goat legs. "Julian, do you talk to the Merry Gentleman regularly?" "No, not regularly, no. I was sent here as a guardian to help protect Drenvale. It's a very important location for the balance between the planes. There's much we can discuss, I'm sure. Let's get somewhere more comfortable." And he trots down the inside of this this hill down towards the village proper. And as he walks, you can see that there are a few more creatures on this side. You saw a couple of the flittering fey creatures around, the fairies. You now see a couple of blink dogs nearby. There is a building off to your immediate right that is a stables. And out of that stables / kennels, the out of that building comes a dog that looks kind of like a bloodhound. And then as it's looking across, and as it barks, it disappears from where it was and reappears about 10 feet closer to you. And Julius sort of turns and kind of shakes his mane a little bit, and the dog immediately backs up a little bit. "Merry Gentleman go away long time now. Seed miss him." "Yes, that's right. Seed has not seen the Merry Gentleman in some time, but I get messages from him. I have ways of connecting to planes that people of this plane don't usually. I am from another plane after all." You reach down into your bag, offer the dog some of your dried meat rations. "Can I?" And you gesture out to the dog, and Seed says, "Yes, Seed, feed dog." And I'll have you roll an animal handling check to see if you feed this blink dog well, or if he seems frightened of you. 16, yes, very well, with your animal handling as well. Very good. You hold it out carefully and let the dog sniff the back of your hand, and then feed him. He seems to love you. This blink dog's immediately a good friend. "Seed have jump dog and big owl friends," and Seed points out towards the tree, and you can't see them right now, but because actually it is getting late, isn't it? You can't see them right now, but you can probably hear them starting to wake. There's a couple of owls starting to wake. "Friends come meet new friend, Apis and Mel, the bee now. Seed have many bees. Come, come, friends. And Seed starts to call out to these various different denizens of the village. And you see a few different creatures. The ones that I've described, the fairies, the blink dogs, the owls. But then you also see toddling towards you a bush. A bush, it seems about basketball sized, I'd guess, maybe beach ball sized at most. And it's a little gorse bush kind of a thing, but quite green with its leaves. And it's just kind of like moving towards you. It looks almost scarily like a twig blight at first, because you've seen a bush attack and kill a rabbit in front of you. But this one has leaves on it. It seems greenery. It seems alive and thriving, rather than like decrepit and dried up like the twig blights were. This bush seems to like toddle towards you as well, and getting closer and closer. And Seed says, Seed's friends of village, Seed's friends Apis and Mel, new friends of village. You say to Julius, well, you first say to the friends there, it's a pleasure to meet you. I hope that I can fit in. I'm happy to be here. There's still an element of Apis' mind, obviously, that's worried about Shadridge and the place that you've left and where you've gone, and why the Merry Gentleman seems to have just completely uprooted you from everything you were doing to send you here. But he is still charming and polite enough to acknowledge that you're being hosted hospitably. But then you turn to Julius and say, I've been asked to help fix what's wrong here, and I will. But do you know how I'm going to get home afterwards? And Julius says, the Merry Gentleman will have plans for you. I believe from what he did say, what you are doing here to help us is how you need to help your home. I understand that you're suffering some sort of problem with demons back home. And you say, yes, that's right. There's some sort of portal open, and he says, yes, you are not yet trained enough in the ways of closing portals and understanding teleportation magics, understanding the traversal of the planes to fully deal with the demons. However, helping us with the problems we're having with the planes will help you to get a better understanding, more experience with planar travel and planar magic. You see, the sentinels have been put in place many centuries ago, millennia perhaps. I am not fully familiar with the history. There was once a thriving village that lived here. He looks around the many different buildings here, the dozen or so buildings, and you can tell from looking at them that although Seed is doing his best to look after them and make sure that they are intact and useful, it seems that Seed is the only humanoid that lives in this village. He's the only one with thumbs, except for the sprites and pixies, but they're tiny, obviously. There's not a lot of creatures here that would be able to actually maintain this, and definitely not. And the buildings themselves are clearly older than Seed, and older than Seed would have been around to build them and to look after them. So it's like an abandoned village that Seed is now living in and looking after. He says there was once a thriving village here, and their purpose was to protect this tree. They worshipped it and created the magics that created this part of the forest. They were the druids in charge of everything here. They were in charge of keeping other creatures away from this area and protecting this area to all cost. Slowly that became less important to them, and less of a they had performed their task so well that rarely was there ever a threat. They began to become complacent in understanding what they had to do. The sentinels were in place, the tree was in place, all of the magics that they had performed to keep this place safe was keeping it safe, and so the people felt unnecessary, redundant, and they began to move away. This is all I know. The sentinels remained intact for some time, protecting the area, keeping the balance of the different planes in check. But then the man in shadows, the one that calls himself Lazengan, he began to look for this tree, and through means we don't understand, he actually managed to find it. A bit at a time, he managed to hone in closer and closer to this area, and once he discovered the sentinels and their protective abjuration magics, he destroyed them, one at a time. Most recently he came back with an army of trees and beasts, so that he could hide them amongst the forest and sneak up. It worked. He managed to destroy the outermost abjuration of this village, and thankfully the magics of the tree itself prevented him from getting any further. Why? All I know is the tree is a sort of plug, if you will. The tree is the ultimate balance check between the different planes of existence. As a Horizon Walker, I'm sure you're aware that there are many inner planes, many planes of life. The fire realms, the air realms, the earth realms, and the water realms, the elemental chaos, the secondary and even tertiary elemental planes, the feywild, the shadowfell, the astral sea, the material plane. The borders between these planes are weak in certain areas, and they were weaker once. At the creation of the universe, they were weakest. The Feywild and the Shadowfell were once even one plane. But then they were separated, and the material plane was created. But the energies still want to come back together, like two magnets. And so the tree acts as a sort of plug, as far as I understand. My analogies could be wrong, perhaps. But the tree acts to sort of root these planes to be where they are, and to remain where they are. And Lazengan, a man from shadows, wishes for him to return to the Shadowfell. And the Shadowfell has negative influence on this plane in tremendous ways. So its portals are very, very carefully guarded. I believe that Lazengan has been displaced from his home and wishes to return to the Shadowfell. And to do so, I believe he wants to take this tree. Seed yell at Shadowman after Seed army died, and Shadowman go away. How many times has Seed heard this story and forgotten it? Probably a few times. I think there's a lot of this story, Kickladder, that Seed just doesn't have the intelligence to understand. Like there's a lot of words, and Julius has tried to put it in words that you do understand, and you understand the concept, but in terms of like home, and he wants to go home and he's not from home, and then you don't really understand the concept of different planes. You know that you've been through the big tree and it was even bigger on the inside, and then there was like special magics and colours and stuff on the inside. But I think Seed probably would think the Feywild lives in this tree and doesn't necessarily know about like understanding planes of existence, because it doesn't work in terms of his survival understanding of like how a forest works. If you walk a mile in that direction, and then a mile in that direction, and then a mile in that direction, and then a mile in that direction, you'll end up back where you started. And that's how Seed understands, because he understands getting around a forest. He understands direction and survival in a forest and following a river, and the river will always come back from where it came from and stuff. So Seed understands things like that. And then like he wouldn't understand planes and stuff. So when Julius has tried to explain all this stuff about the tree and the purpose of it and the planes, and it's kind of gone over his head with a 6 intelligence. As he's talking about the Shadowfell, you put your hand out and say TomTom, and then beetle comes out into your palm, and Julius says, "Huh, what is that?" You say, "It's a wayfinder beetle. I think it was given to me by one of the fairies I met once, who something about the merry gentleman wanted me to have it. It helps me to understand the direction to Shadowfells and portals and things." TomTom, where's the closest where is the closest portal to the Shadowfell? Without a hesitation, his little eyes twinkling, it turns on his heel and right up your finger, pointing directly at the massive tree in the centre of the village. Seed, TomTom, where's the closest direction to the plane of air? TomTom, how would you interpret this movement? Let's see. TomTom shoots back up your finger and then up the next finger, but he's only halfway up the finger when he turns around and comes back to your palm. He runs over towards the heel of your palm, and then he turns round in the centre of your palm and runs up your thumb. He turns round and comes back up your little finger, and then he kind of goes over the little finger and crawls over the back of your palm, and then walks up your wrist on the outside of your bracer. You quickly sort of turn and he's walking his way up your elbow, but then he turns back around and comes back down your palm and up the centre of your finger. He's got erratic movement and he's recalculating movement. You get that sense of that raw magical power that you're feeling, that crackling of energy around you. And it is, with his movement, it seems like the closest portal to the plane of air isn't necessarily a stationary or tangible thing. And you connect that to that feeling that you've been feeling since you got into the forest, of like that raw magical power. And you realise that the planes may be a little bit closer to overlapping in this part of the forest. TomTom, where is the nearest portal to the plane of fire? At first, it doesn't seem like he's heard you at all, because he continues in that erratic movement, trying to recalculate and walk around, and he's looking for things. He can't tell exactly where the nearest portal to the plane of fire would be. Where is the nearest portal to the feywild? His movement stops. He runs back up your arm and immediately along the closest portion of your body to whichever is the closest portion of your body at the time, to the big tree. And then as you turn, he continues walking along that palm, keeping himself closest on your person wherever he happens to be. He is always closest to the big tree. He's definitively pointing that direction. That's a fascinating skill you have. A fascinating item, I suppose, or it isn't a creature. I don't sense him. He's not a creature. No, it's a skill of sorts. It's like a part of you. I think perhaps it's an extension of your abilities as a horizon walker. Oh, I see. Hey Julius, do you know what planes that tree leads to? I'm afraid I don't know the intricacies of the tree, and I don't exactly know how the tree works either. All I know is that this morning it opened, and stepping through it was Kurapira. He seemed shocked that you weren't there. He said that you should have been coming through with him, but then it seemed to amuse him. It made him all sorts of giddy to realise that while he transported with you, you had not arrived on the other side of it. You must have stepped or taken a different turn, as it were. He said he had to head back and that we should keep an eye out for you in case you arrived somewhere else in the forest. He stepped back through and closed the tree behind himself. At this point, you turn around and see that Mel is not with you. Oh shit! Where Mel? And you hear some buzzing nearby, and you look over and you see that there is in a section of the village, there is a herb garden, a garden that has been cultivated to grow certain things. You walk over there and you see that there is a beehive in the centre, way too small for Mel, because it is like a regular bee-sized beehive. But she is having a blast just chilling with a bunch of real bees, and they are buzzing all over her and like climbing over her and stuff, because as an empress bee she has she's drunk again. As an empress bee she has a way with taking over other beehives. She can she can take over even the queen bee, and like, so she has immediately done so, and she's walked over there and taken over the queen bee in like, not in like a weird dictatorial way, but like in a I'm naturally more authoritative because I'm bigger. And she's made a bunch of new bee friends from this little beehive that is as part of this garden. As you get close enough, Seed says, seed garden, seed work on this every day. Seed grow things for potion. You make potion? And you say, I not yet, but I do have a book for, and you bring your potion book out, and he says, oh, seed like book. Lots of book here. Seed look at pictures in books. And you say, yeah, maybe. And you look down at the garden, and you can tell that it is a lot of the different cultivated things that you were foraging for the potion brewers when you were stuck in Lucifreak's situation. There's the Cymbatrill and the mosswort, I think it's called, and the sea scum, and there's a bunch of different of the elements, the potion ingredients that you were searching for, and Seed has started a cultivation. Any new things? There is a bush nearby in this garden that is growing some kind of berries, but it doesn't seem like a very healthy bush. You point that one out, and Seed says, yes, Seed try grow berries. Seed try grow good berry, but not working. The merry gentleman intended to come with us then, and wonder he left a note somehow. Yep. That's why he wasn't more specific on his note. That's why he didn't leave like a big detailed note of everything that you were going to have to talk about, because he expected to come through the portal with you and have to be like, here you go. The note was just a backup in case what happened. He knew there was a possibility that you would jump, but he expected to be with you. And then it seems like he was excited by the prospect of you having jumped when he walked through the portal with you, and he's like, oh, Apis isn't here. That's interesting. Julian, do you have a way of getting word to Shadridge or Fondurg? We went missing recently, and folks might think the worst. I don't know those areas, I'm sorry. Where do you know where they are? I mean, I could describe them, but it doesn't seem like you know them. You give him a few more. Shafgushel, Giftigald Forest. He doesn't know them. I'm afraid I don't know much outside of the realm of this forest. I haven't existed on this plane of existence for longer than a few months. I was sent here recently to protect against a particular attack. And then once I was here, I was told to stay as a guardian. And I've been a guardian of this forest ever since. It's a very nice garden you have, Seed. Thank you. Seed work on good garden. Is Goodberry in our book? Yeah, you have a little look through your potion book, and you see that there is indeed a section on the different berries. It's under this section called Healing Potions, and it talks about the planifer berries and the viner berries and the various different. There's a few different types of berries. It says that they're different. They are of different. They're of different rarities, different frequency found within magical forests, and they also say that by nature they are very difficult to cultivate, because after you've plucked them, they don't grow again on that same vine. They tend to move around a little bit. It makes it harder to cultivate them, and it also means that if you try to keep them in a particular part of the forest, even if you're foraging them and not cultivating them, if you just like make a note of, oh, there's so-and-so berries over in this area, once you've gone there and harvested from them, you can't just keep going back to that same spot day in and day out. They sort of magically move around the forest, making potion making a little bit harder. But it does say that they are a vital part of healing potions. Pointy's with us? Yeah, Pointy's around. He usually doesn't come into the village per se. He's like more of a guard dog kind of thing and stays on the outside, specifically ambushing to attack things that are getting too close to the village. Try praying to Flonenshale to ask how to grow it gooder. Yeah, so have you tried praying to Flonenshale? And Seed says, yes, Seed have prayer wheel for making garden grow good. You see that nearby there's like a little water feature that Seed has created. Seems like it might be led from a spring or maybe just from magic water creation. But there's like a tiny little like pond feature near his garden, and there's like a water wheel that's turning that's got like inscriptions and things written on it, and you can tell that a couple of those symbols on this water wheel is Flonenshale's symbol. I wonder if Seed's wise enough to make Lucy potion to make vulnerable to poisons. Seed's wise enough to make the potions that he knows how to make, like healing potions and things. He's working on that. He's not like a potion master, but he's definitely working on them. Seed is not intelligent enough to make potions that he doesn't know. Like potions of poison would require very much intelligence rather than wisdom, because it's not a thing that exists yet. You're trying to like do alchemy essentially. Potions that already exist and you can follow a recipe for, that are kind of intuitive, than more wisdom based, but a lot of potions would be intelligence based. Seed, you should try praying to Flonenshale to ask how to grow goodberries gooder. I saw some around in a dream once. Yes, Seed use this for that, and he points to the wheel. We've got some ingredients in our bag. Maybe ask Seed if he knows what they're for. Maybe they're a weir curse cure. You get them out and you say, Seed, I've got some things here. Do you know what these are for? And you show him these goodberry flowers. And Seed says, no, not Seed not see these before. You ask Julian, and no. And Seed says, mine. And he shouts mine, and you're like, oh, no, they're mine. And he says, mine. And as he's sort of gesturing, you see that there's a small pixie flies over to him.
Yeah, that's one.
And she says to him, what is it? And he says, mine, friend Apis has thing. You know what thing for? And she looks at you and flits down towards them and says,
Yes. These are for making you fly faster, move faster. And I don't know how it would work on you if you don't fly, but it make you move faster.
TomTom, can you point to the second closest portal to the Shadowfell? TomTom comes out into your palm of your hand and just kind of like circles around looking at you. TomTom does have a limit of how many times you can ask them things in the day, and you've asked them for a few things now. Seed have bushfriend to do work too, yeah, and he points down to that bush that I mentioned that's like basketball sort of sized, that's sort of toddling after you everywhere you've gone, kind of. It's just been following Seed around. We made a menagerie in Ultimes in Shadridge, Seed. It was do you know what a menagerie is? No, Seed not know menagerie. Menagerie. No, it's like a place where you keep animals. Oh, Seed have animal friend, and he points over to where the blink dogs live in the stables, and he's like, yeah, not quite gonna get it. So it's a place that Ultimes. Seed doesn't know religion, so he wouldn't know them by names and stuff. Seed keep animal in village. He doesn't know the gods by name necessarily, but like he's the god of the hunt. Seed know how to hunt, yes. Yeah, well, there's a god that looks over people who hunt, and we made a place back where I'm from in my village. We made a place where we can worship the person who helps us with hunting. Oh yes, Seed help. Blink dog helps Seed with hunting. Oh, Jump dog helps Seed with hunting. You take out one of your 2 healing potions, and you say, "Do you know how to make these?" And Seed says, "Yes. Seed make potion make better when hurt." You're trying to relate over the prayer wheel. Yeah, he understands the prayer wheel because he got it from somebody who understood religion and kind of knew what he was trying to get at, and was like, "Here, do this." But he doesn't understand religion and doesn't really understand praying so much. Do you have any flowers that bees love for Mel to get drunk on? You look over, Mel is already fucking wasted. She's not wasted, but she's like having the time of her life with these bees. Like, he has a garden in which he is cultivating all the different types of potion ingredient to try and make potions with, and he's got a beehive there to like cultivate it, to pollinate it. Sorry, and Mel is having a good old time with those. Seed, do you know what a weir curse is? Seed, K-Cladder, if you're still here. Do you know them by name? The were-curse? The were-people? Or do you just know them as like the animal people? I don't remember how like Seed would think about those folk. Because you have been there or haven't been there. I don't think you've never been there in one of my games, but I don't know if I can't remember if we said that Seed has like opened trade with the were-people or not. We should ask if Seed can teach us how to make healing potions. Can you like teach me how to make healing potions? He says, yes, you have thumbs good for that. Missed that. I was asking, what does Seed know about the were-people? I can't remember. You've never been there directly, like in one of my games, but you know of them because of Team Guran. Have you been there? Like, did we say that you would have like opened trade with them and stuff? I can't remember. You have been there? I can't remember, man. It's been doing this game for so many years now. I forget specifics. So they've asked you, what do you know about were-curses? Do you know about helping people who turn into animals when they don't want to? Seed was there one time and showed them him as a crocodile, right? Yes, he turned into a crocodile. Yeah, that's right. Do you know anything about helping people who turn into animals when they don't mean to? Oh, Seed have friend in Animal Village that turn into animal, and they like a whole village of people that do that. Yes. Are they? Is that near here? Yes, pretty. Fairly close. Do they want to turn into animals? Seed know when people can turn into animal. Seed turn into animal, and then in front of you, just immediately, he turns his body down into some kind of like maybe a badger or something. He shifts down into a little badger and looks up at you. And this time he's not like an elemental badger, he's just like a regular badger. Scurries around your legs and you're like, yeah, that's not quite the same. You've seen druids wild shape before, so you realise he's got similar magics there. He shifts back out of badger, and he says, Seed turn into animal too. They turn into animal, but one animal, and then Seed help trade potion with them often. Ah, okay. Huh. Ask Julian. Julian, do you know if the merry gentleman cured my friend Belladel? I'm starting to forget his real name. Because you fucking Benadryls. Did the merry gentleman cure Belladel and Mosh? And Julian says, I'm sorry, I don't know who or what those are. He hasn't told me anything about that. You have to understand, he hasn't told me very much at all. Just that you were coming here and kind of who you were. And the fact that you'd be able to help us with the sentinels. Right. Okay. Do you know if there's any way for us to get a message to our friends? If your friends are close, which it doesn't sound like, you can send messages with animals, and Seed pipes in and says, yes, Seed send message with bees, but Mel angry at Seed for sending message with bees. Not send message with bees for long. You can send a message with the bees. Like, where does the message go if you send with the bee? Seed talk to bee and tell bee to talk to someone for Seed over long distance. How? Okay, but it sounds like so the bee has to fly there. Yes, you realise. He's talking about animal messenger. This is a message. This is a thing you've seen some of the other druids do. You can give a message to an animal and it can take it somewhere for you, and Seed apparently has that. But without knowing where the hell you are and where you're going, it's probably unlikely to get to where it's going. You could try, but unlikely. So Julian, what can we do to help here? I figure I'll know more as I start to investigate. Julian says, yes, I think one of the best things you can do is the sentinel we're working on at the moment is the Earth Sentinel. Perhaps we should show you it. It's getting late. Well, let's show you first thing in the morning. For now, just relax and try and settle in, I suppose. In the morning, I'll take you to the Earth Sentinel, and we will start working, I suppose. I feel like Mel got stung by Seed's bees. Or Mel. Is it possible to enchant the sentinels the way that my rope has? Like if my rope gets damaged, it fixes itself. And Julian sort of laughs and says, no. The magic of the sentinels is far more primal than the arcane magics of simply weaving rope back together. They are more old, I suppose, is the simplest way of saying it. It is old magic. They will not be able to be enchanted in ways that they aren't already. They are far beyond regular enchantments. Just while I think on it, you said that the merry gentleman stepped out of the tree, like he came out of the feywild. He says, well, he came through the tree. I don't think he left the tree, no. Why? He didn't step foot on this plane, as it were. No, he stayed in the tree, and then the bridge closed itself back again. I see. Okay, well, I suppose we'll start resting then. Is there a place for me? And Seed says, yes. Seed make bed for you. And Seed helps you with finding one of the many abandoned buildings here to sleep in. Seed kind of takes you for the rest of the evening through like a bit of a quick tour of the village. He shows you the room that he uses for potion making. He shows you the room that he uses that's just like a library. It's got a bunch of books in here, but like old and kind of unlooked after books. He shows you the room that he uses for like his meditation, his sleeping, as it were. He shows you the room for the storehouse where he keeps food and whatnot. Just a bunch of things like that. We haven't done the evening feast yet, Cake Ladder now. As he shows you one of the buildings and says, this good for you to sleep, yes? And he kind of shows you one of his beds and he says, Seed not need sleep. Seed just rest for a while. But you need sleep, yes? And you say, yes, I'll need sleep. And he shows you a bed where you can set up and you drop your belongings and things. And then he says, come, feast time for food, yes? And you're like, yeah, I could probably eat. What do we eat? Should I hunt? I can hunt. And he says, no, Seed no need you hunt. He takes you down and he walks you up to the entrance to the village, the entrance where you sort of crested over and met Julian. And as you get up there, you are met with this what the fuck is going on kind of moment. As you crest the top of the hill, you realise that on the other side, just waiting for you in this weirdly patient and organised manner, is a huge assortment of animals. Every kind of animal you can imagine in a forest, in like a wild wood of a sort of medieval Britain kind of style. There are even some there that shouldn't probably be there. Like there's a couple of apes, it looks like, and there's one large bear that you can see at the back, and they're all kind of just sitting, not quite in rows, but they're like radially, like semicircles, almost like what's the word? Radially out from you standing on top of this thing, like you're giving like the Sermon to the Mount or something. Sermon of the Mount. You're giving the Lion King. Yeah, like they're all just standing there, kind of watching between the tree line and the base of the hill. And Seed walks up and says, "Hello, friend. Welcome for feast." And then he begins to speak in a kind of a ritual tone. I'm just going to look up the spell real quick, Cake Ladder, because I can't remember what components we gave it. But he casts a spell that is a spell of mine and James's creation, and you can find it on my Patreon under the spells that I've created for the game. It is a spell called Woodland Demagogue. Let me find it. Woodland Demagogue. It takes 1 hour to cast, so he is speaking, orating, and casting all at the same time. It has vocal, somatic, and material components. As he's casting this spell, as he's talking to these creatures present, he is slightly, like, he's not more eloquent, but he's slightly more focused on how he's talking. He's still using really sort of broken language and common, but he's doing a better job of keeping his thoughts organized for while he's talking to all of these animals. Take a seat and listen. Yeah, you sit down and you listen as well. This spell allows you to rally small beasts to your cause and help you set up a camp, clear an abandoned grove, or protect your lands from intruders. You make an inspiring speech. All non-hostile beasts which can hear you, of size small or smaller, so I guess the bear probably shouldn't be there, but I mean, why not? It's for flavour. All beasts of size small or smaller can understand your words and their meaning, and the beasts may perform certain acts for you. Acts of service are limited by what the creatures of that type and size are capable of doing, but their actions will be more coordinated than they would have otherwise been. Seed, at the end of his speech, has to make a charisma animal handling check, charisma-based animal handling. He is very good at animal handling, but terrible at charisma, so it's not the greatest roll, but he has done this a few times now. Make a charisma animal handling check as part of casting the spell, and refer to the table below for examples of what sort of thing the beasts may be inspired to help you with, based on the outcome of the roll. So, for Seed, I will roll... not the greatest speech today, Seed. That is a 6. And then if I check your character sheet, which was a -1 for charisma, so that's a 5, and then plus your animal handling, which at your level would be a +4. I think you have expertise in animal handling, don't you? So it would be a 9, and then maybe you have expertise. Where the hell did I put your character sheet from the other day when you sent it through to me? The bear's probably just learned that the speech means food. Yeah, that's probably a good point, actually. The bear's not actually a part of the woodland demagogue, but he's just like, I'm turning up every time at this time because there's a bunch of animals here and then there's a feast happens afterwards. Character sheet, Seed, here we go. Animal handling, you have a +9, but that's because of your wisdom, so you're not expertise in it, you're just regular in it. So that is a 9 total on today's check. If you get less than a 6, the speech was not particularly inspiring and the beasts offer you no aid. But if you get a 6 to 10, which you got today, the beasts will help you in setting up or taking down campsites or collecting firewood. They will act as lookouts and spies, which is exactly what happened when the birds overheard you coming and heard you talking about the sentinel and the merry gentleman and stuff, and went whoosh, and they took off to tell Seed, hey, there's someone coming. They will act as lookouts and spies. They will report back to you with the location and or numbers of creatures in the area. So that's exactly what had happened with you today, which is why Seed knew where to find you. If you get an 11 to 15, they'll also look after nature in the area. They will eat or spoil perishable items of any enemies of yours in the area. So they'll slowly get more and more of a nuisance to creatures in the area that you don't want in the area. With a high enough check, they will actively attack your enemies on sight as well. So the spell lasts for 24 hours. So every night, as part of the speech, he says, "And come back here tomorrow." And therefore they are kind of ordered to come back here tomorrow, and then once they're all here and lined up and ready, he can give them another woodland demagogue. You wouldn't have monstrosity. Yeah, that's right, you didn't have double proficiency because you wouldn't have monstrosity handling. So he speaks for an hour telling them about stuff. They'll just act as spies and lookouts and just general helping around the forest. Not actual friends, but they'll just be like, they're commanded to, they are charmed into helping, I guess, without the charmed condition. And the beasts will offer you a little bit of aid. At the end of casting the spell, he then casts a feast of sorts. I'm just going to look at what Seed said. It was Which one was it? It's not a particular spell that you're casting, is it? It's just a feast. Yeah, just a feast. I can't remember if Seed has create food and water, does he? But regardless of whether it's magically created or whether as part of yesterday's help the beasts have brought food, I think that makes a little bit more sense. The beasts that have arrived at the completion of the woodland demagogue all stand and start to bring their respective foods forwards, and they add to the feast. Julian blesses the food with his bless abilities as a unicorn. Julius, sorry. Seed helps to prepare them with his thumbs. The various different pixies and whatnot pick up the food and start to deliver them out to the various different animals. And as a huge party, essentially, you all have this delicious feast of various different food items. Lots of fish and lots of berries, yes. Lots of fish, lots of berries, and lots of grown vegetables and things from Seed's garden. You feast on this food. It's enjoyable and a weirdly bizarre experience for you, seeing some not sentient animals, but like animals that are acting in a more coordinated manner than they probably should otherwise. You have this little feast, and then you go off to bed. You find your respective house that Seed showed you. You go off to sleep, and in the morning you will wake up, and Julius will take you off to the Earth Elemental to start your long journey into helping them repair the Sentinels and to understand what the hell the Sentinels are and what they're useful for. But that is a story for another time. We'll leave there for next week, and we'll start with you waking up and beginning your journey with helping Julius and Seed and the Dren Vale to recover from their ordeal. Roll a memory check. We will roll a memory check on the night as well to see if you remember during the night any of your dreams help to spark any memories of your Feywild journey. Just like I do with my home game for the person who went to the Feywild and has since been recovering memories a little fragment at a time, I will do so for you next week as well, next episode. Thank you for joining me, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Hello, YouTube viewer. Have you followed me on Twitch yet? It's free, and it lets you know when I'm going live, so you can join in all of the fun as it's happening.